You're all welcome.
All right.
Mr.
Very
Pastor,
good
over to you.
evening. Very good evening to everyone. Want to really appreciate you all. I hope you guys can hear me. Let me confirm my audio. I hope my audio is good. Can you guys hear me? Please, I
Yes.
need. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So you are all welcome to this special platform. I believe you guys will have been given a lot of information regarding to this platform, what we do, what we stand for, and our unique attributes and core values. Okay, just like Mr. Michael, thank you very much for the the over introduction. I hope I will be able to deliver based on that your super introduction. Right. So yeah, without taking our time, I'm going to walk us through the reason why we are here tonight. We are here to understand what programming is all about. Please, we advise we mute for us to have a smooth conversation. I believe that information will have been given to us. Okay, I can actually mute you from here, but I don't want to be distracted. Please let us mute when not talking. All right. Okay, so let's dive in. I have roughly 1 hour plus to take us through the journey of Python programming language. But before we go into Python programming properly, we have uh, an objective, or we have objectives, what we tend to cover in this section. So in this section, we shall be looking at the following. This shall be our major topic, but in between there shall be other explanation, other topic that we might chip in, but this shall be our major focus. So at the end of this training or this webinar, every one of us that have joined here will be able to go home with an understanding of what programming is all about, not just Python. And they will also know why we should become programmers. We are going to look at the benefits of learning programming or becoming a programmer. Then we are also going to look at programming IDEs, and then we will also look at Python basic syntax. Um, I think from that point, please let us mute when we are not talking to avoid uh, disrupting the communication, please. All right, so we also talk about uh, Python data types. So let's see how fast we can go. All right, so let's dive in. So I'm going to start with what is programming. What is programming? You know, a lot of us might be asking, or it could be going on in your mind, what is this programming is all about? So programming or coding is the process of giving instructions to a computer so it can perform specific tasks. Right? This, in the simplest way, we can say that we can look at it as a computer is very powerful. Yes, we understand that the computer is very powerful, but it cannot think on its own. It only follows clear instructions. And that is what we are in for tonight, how we can write such instruction uh, to the computer or on the computer to be able to carry out certain assignments. Right? So programming is how we write those instructions using a special language. All right, so tonight we are learning a different language. I believe some of us understand Hausa, some of us understand Igbo, some of us understand other languages. So we are just going to add another language. So programming has different languages. For example, in this training, we are going to look at Python as one of the language used in computer communication. All right, so let's look at, so why should I learn programming, or why should I become a programmer? To solve problems efficiently. Now, one of the direct benefits of you becoming a programmer, you end up becoming a problem solver. You end up becoming a very creative person, because one thing about programming or writing of code, 30 to 40% of the code we write most time does not work. We have to spend time to begin to debug, look at it from different angle and see what could cause the code not to respond as programmed. So that persistency, that ability to stay true until you get to know the cause and provide or resolve the problem is what stretches us. And that is why we are saying that a programmer should be a problem solver. A programmer shouldn't be type of person that will see a problem and run away. A programmer should be able to look at a complex problem and break it down into what smaller steps. Right? That is where we understand programming algorithm and flowchart from, trying to simplify processes until we get the desired results. So, for example, calculating student results automatically instead of doing it manually. That is the direct positive benefit of programming. A lot of things are now automated, particularly the language we are looking at in this session is one of the language that you hardly find it absent in any major tech aspect today. You want to learn cybersecurity, Python is one of the 80 to 90% programming language we use in scripting. You want to learn data analytics, Python is one of the language that offers us containers of functions, which are called libraries or packages. You want to learn web development, Python can also help us with a library called the Django, which can help us to develop the back end of our website. So you can say you want to learn AI automation or AI engineering, any of the major tech aspects today as we talk, you cannot see the absence of Python. And that is why when you learn Python programming, it's as if you are also having a background of going into all these tech domains that I just mentioned. All right, so let's take a look at more reason why we should learn programming. The second reason is that to build useful application with programming, you can create websites, mobile apps, games, business, uh, business system like payroll, school management. So there are a whole lot of customized application that can solve someone's problem due to their area of what specialization. All right, so programmer are highly what needed today as far the society is concerned. And as we all know, programming is the foundation of the entire technology concept. There is no aspect of technology today that that can be that cannot be traced to to programming. Almost everything. Think of any aspect of technology that is breaking through today. there is an element of what? Programming. The root of it is programming. All right. So programming is very important to each and every one of us. So let's look at another um, benefit of learning programming to automate tasks. For example, when I mentioned Excel here, there is a programming language that is used to automate tasks in Excel, which is called Visual Basic Application, VBA. That is a typical example of what programming language. Even Python, you can create the OP app, most of the apps you see out there, they were all developed with Python programming languages. And you can see that instructions have been pre-written to perform certain work, function, or tasks on behalf of the organization. That is the automation. That is what somebody will have been engaged on. But today, you can program a task even while you are sleeping. The program can be performing the task for you automatically. So we can go on and on looking at the benefits of programming. They are actually what? Enormous. Now, let's look at another benefit of learning programming to improve career opportunities. Programming skills are in high demand worldwide. You can work as a software developer, data analyst, web designer, AI engineer. It also opens doors to remote jobs and freelancing. You know, one of the core reasons why we should go into technology, or one of the reasons why all of a sudden tech is now very what lucrative, unlike before 2019 when COVID-19 happened to the entire world. A lot of persons were not seeing any reason to go into what technology. But today, almost every organization or individual, they want to belong to this what fastest what growing industry, because now it is very easy for you to work remotely. With the knowledge of technology, you can work remotely. You don't need to travel to UK. You don't need to travel to any country. Right from your comfort home, you can work from any location. Just like the way you are able to attend this webinar via online. So you can see that right from your comfort home, you are able to also grab these skills. So that is made possible because of technology, right? So, and all of these are the result of programming. The application I'm using right now to teach us was developed by someone, a programmer. And you can see that person must have sat down and looked at the constraint people are having, accessing information, or maybe attending conference. And he came up with application like Zoom like this that is used for teleconferencing online. So you can see it's giving us a kind of experience as if we are all in one physical room. Meanwhile, we are apart from each other. That is the impact of programming. All right. So let's look at this on our objective. I'm trying to be very fast with the theoretical aspects so that we can spend our reasonable time on the practical I have for us tonight. So let's quickly look at if let's look at programming platform or IDE. Now, before you can write a program, before you can code, you must access a platform. You must install what we call integrated development environment, IDE. So you need a container that helps you to run your code, execute the code. And that container should be able to have several features we are going to discuss in a moment that makes this what a development environment. It's just like when you want to write letter, you look for a text editor like Microsoft Word or Notepad. When you want to do graphic design, you look for application like CorelDRAW, Photoshop, InDesign, and the rest. Now, if you want to program as a programmer, what app or what are the applications that are customized for us to be able to write our code, execute the code, and even deploy the code. So these customized applications, they are referred to as IDE, right? So a programming IDE, which means integrated development environment, is a software application that provides all the tools a programmer needs to write, look at it here, to test and debug code in one place. So that is just the essence of you needing or accessing a platform to write your code. Though tonight I'm going to use a platform that some of us are not even conversant with, and but it is good for you to understand how to use it. So I will have used the core IDE that is recommended for Python programming. That will be used probably in the master, the full training session. But in this session, I just needed to use a platform that everybody, as you are attending, can practice alongside with me. I don't want issue whereby somebody will say that I cannot install the PyCharm right now because it requires you installing Python before you install the PyCharm and then do all the configuration. If I go into that, I may spend the whole time just setting up the environment. We may not get to the practical, but I'm going to use a platform that even as I'm writing my code, you can as well be writing your code. Even with your mobile phone, you should be able to code alongside with me. All right. So I believe with this, we now understand what an IDE is all about. So anytime you want to speak any computer language, you want to write any computer language code, be it Python, be it Java, be it C Sharp, be it C++, be it any language, the first thing you ask yourself is that which IDE, which platform am I going to use to write my code, test the code, and debug the code? So in a very simple way, we can define IDE uh, as what? A complete workspace. A complete workspace where programmers write and manage their code efficiently. In summary, so every programmer needs a workspace where they can write and manage their code efficiently. And that is why you need an IDE. So if you see any programmer, you ask the person, which IDE do you use? The person will surely tell you one of them, right? So let's quickly look at some of the features, the key components that are expected to be in any word IDE that you choose. So why I am teaching us all these key features so that you choose wise. There are some basic IDE, and then we have the advanced IDE. The difference between the basic IDE and the advanced IDE is the absence of some important components that you need. All right. So just like I've highlighted here, every IDE that you want to use to write your code, ensure that that IDE is able to what to perform what we call the first option, which is called code editor, where you write your code. It must provide you a platform. It must provide you a space, like a page, where you can write your code. All right. So it often highlights keywords to make code easier. That is another factor. For example, imagine you are writing a program with Notepad or front page. Definitely, you are not going to access what keywords. Now, in programming, there are two words I want us, or key terms I want us to acknowledge before we proceed. Anytime I use the word library, it means what? Containers of functions. Anytime I use the word keyword, it means a name that has already been used to store a function within a program memory called the cache. I hope you are following. Can I get a response from at least one person? just to know if I'm communicating. I just need one person to unmute and respond to me. Sir, I'm following. Just want to know if I'm talking to people. Can I hear from one person at least? Does it mean you guys cannot hear me? Please, I need a response from one person, please. You can use the reaction button.
We can hear you.
All right. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. It's okay. You can mute back, please. All right. So any IDE you are choosing, please make sure that it has this component. It must provide the code editor where you write your code. It must carry compiler plus interpreter, which converts your code into a form the computer
which you will be attended to at the end of the training. So if you have your question, like I said, don't that you won't.
All right.
For your question.
All right. So sorry about that lost in transmission. So I think I've exceeded here. See, I think okay. So we're still talking about the features that any IDE you are choosing must have. So your IDE must have a compiler, interpreter, which converts your code into a form the computer can understand and run. And that is one of the reasons why most of us prefer to use PyCharm, because PyCharm has a very good interpreter and it has a lot of that's voluminous of functions in its library. All right. So auto completion suggests code. As you type, you will see that once you enter a keyword, that was why I was trying to explain the meaning of keywords to us. So a keyword, like I said before, is a name that is already given to a function in the program. So which means that if you are calling such a keyword, for example, print, by the time you type PR, the entire print as in Word will have been dropped to tell you that, oh, this word exists inside the program. So one of the advantage of using this IDE that are advanced is that so that you can access those keywords auto completion. So you don't have to type the whole name or the whole description of the function before you can access it. So the next one is file management. Any IDE you are choosing must have the ability to manage your files. Your files. All right. So let's see. I believe that, like he said, I will give room for questions after some time. Before I just want to round up the theoretical aspect, because these are aspects you can actually read and understand on your own. So I don't want to bother all with too many theoretical explanations. So example of this IDE, so I mentioned only one here, PyCharm, which happens to be the most used Python programming IDE, particularly if you are learning Python for pure programming, for maybe game development, application development, not learning Python for data analytics or any other aspect of technology, then PyCharm would be the best IDE. But outside PyCharm, we have other IDE that has a Python extension. You can use Visual Studio Code. I know some of us that are into web development will have been used to Visual Studio Code. You can as well use it. The only thing you need to do is that Visual Studio Code does not come with Python extension. The moment you try saving a file and you type py, which is this extension for saving Python file. It will automatically throw you a message that the extension does not exist, and recommend, if you're on the internet, a link where you can, click and get it installed. But for PyCharm, the extension is already built in. Then you can also use other IDEs. There are a whole lot of IDE, but I don't want to take us away from the one that is prescribed. But in this session, we are going to look at Google Colab. Google Colab, as the name implies, Google collaboration. Now, it is good that you are going into programming, you understand certain platforms, you understand GitHub, you understand all these collaborative platforms. If you are working remotely, most of these platforms, you need to be conversant with them because they allow you to share your code. They allow you to collaborate with other experts that are not within the same place with you. And that is why I want to take us with that. So what is Python? Now let's look at Python introduction properly. So everything that I've said is for us to understand the general concepts of programming and what are the apps that are required. Where do I start from if I want to write a program? If I want to write a code, I want to write code. Where do I start from? So everything I've said so far will have answered those questions. Now you know that programming is the art of writing instructions to the computer to perform specific tasks. Now you also know that there are a lot of benefits of becoming a programmer. Like we highlighted, we did mention that a programmer is a creative person. A programmer is a problem solver. All right, so we look at different benefits of programming, and then we look at platform where you can write and deploy your programs. Now we want to focus on what we advertise for, which is what? Python. So what is Python programming language? So Python, let's start by understanding that Python is a programming language first. Just by the way you have Hausa, we have already established that. You have Igbo, you have other languages. So anybody can speak any language they understand. So at the end of the day, if you call yourself a programmer, you must be able to tell us which of the language of the computer you use, because all of these programming languages understand the computer, or the computer understand them. All right, so Python is a high-level programming language. I am going to simplify some of these terms so that we have full understanding why we say Python is a high-level programming language used to create software, like we have highlighted before, websites, automate tasks, and analyze data. These are just few of them. There are so many other areas where you can apply Python. I can tell you for free that if you want to learn any programming language, for somebody who wants to become tech expert, start with Python, because the future is Python. The present is Python. So gradually Python is taking over the market. You can see it in web development today. Now people have begun to shift their focus from PHP. Now the focus is either what? The back-end implementation is either Python or Node.js. These are AI languages. So if you must learn any programming language, don't go and start with all those old programming languages like C#. Yeah, they have their own niche. Yes, not disputed. But what we are saying is that if you want to learn a language that can help you to grow and to do better in any aspect of tech you find yourself today and the future, Python is the way to go. And the good thing about it is that it's the simplest language among all of them to learn. Because you cannot be bringing artificial intelligence and then much manual work will still be required. That is the reason why Python appears to be the simplest programming language today. not because it's more really powerful than others, but because it's the AI language. Other ones have their own niche, they have their own strength. It's the only language that has modules, that has packages, that has library. It's very vast. It can be applied almost in every aspect of technology, like we have mentioned before. So, and analyze it. So Python is an easy to read and easy to write programming language that allows you to communicate instructions to a computer. So it's very simple. Once you can speak English, you can learn Python. You can learn Python and understand it because it has its own syntax is almost the same thing with the English language. But other languages are not like that. All right. So now let's look at, we have still highlighted the words. Let's look at some characteristics of Python. Here, I just want to explain some of those terms that I use. I just want to explain some of those terms that I use. What are the key characteristics of Python? What makes Python to be simple? What makes Python to be different from other languages? Why is it that the whole world today, everybody wants to have at least 30% knowledge of Python? Like I said before, you cannot go into machine learning or data science without what? Going through Python or R. So you can see that there are a whole lot of advantages, and some of them are what I've highlighted here. Number one, simple and easy to learn. It has very simple syntax. The word syntax in programming means what? Set of rules that govern how code are to be written. All right? So every programmer must get acquainted to these terms. In fact, one of the easiest ways you can find programming language very simple is when you understand the syntax of that language. When you understand the rudiments of that language. So the word syntax here in a simple form is the format, how code are written. Every language has their own syntax. In other words, every language has their own rules. What makes Java for mobile app development difficult than Python? Because of the syntax. Because of the syntax. When if you register for the master class, where you learn the entire basic and intermediate, I think we are going to break it into 3 phases. So when you graduate from the basic, then you advance into the intermediate and advanced. So you will not see that Python is actually very simple. Particularly if you are coming from the old programming languages, you will surely appreciate Python. So one of its attributes, like I mentioned here, making it beginner friendly. Everybody that even without prior computer knowledge, if somebody teach you Python very well, you can flow with it. But if you don't have basic computer knowledge, if I teach you Java now, you will be lost. If you don't have basic computer knowledge, if I teach you C#, you'll be lost. If I teach you VBA, you'll be lost. But for Python, even though you don't have any basic knowledge, so long you can use the keyboard and the mouse, you can learn Python. So another attribute of Python is the high-level language. You don't need to worry about complex computer details. So Python takes away the complexity and allow a programmer to focus only on the logic. Unlike other programming languages, where you have to do a lot of manual work and also struggling with the logic. So let's look at another feature, interpreted language, which means that Python can run code
line by line, making debugging easier. Then another key attribute of Python is that it is versatile. Like I've mentioned before, general purpose, which means that for almost every aspect, Python has an input. And that's why I told you that it's the language of now and the language of the future. Because now and the future is evolving around what? Artificial intelligence. And the leading language for artificial intelligence is the Python. In fact, is the key promoter. So can be used for many things like web development, data analysis, AI, and automation. So many aspects. Python can be plugged in. So here is the IDE we are going to use. At this point, once I'm done explaining this, we can now dive. I'll give room for question for like 5 to 10 minutes if I still have enough time. After the question and answer section, then we dive into the practical. And if you have anybody who you feel should be in this class, you reach out to the person. We are about entering the practical aspect because I want us to go home with some knowledge. So this platform, when we advertise free, it's not like we just want to come and market our product. It is truly what? Training, not just marketing. So what is Google Colab? What is Google Colab? I know some of us, we have not heard of this term, Google Colab. So Google Colab is a short for collaboratory. It's a free cloud-based platform that allows you to write and run Python code in your web browser. That's why I told you that everybody will be able to code alongside with me because I believe we all have Chrome or Mozilla Firefox or browser in our phones already. And in case you want to code alongside with me with Python Mobile IDE, just go to Google Play Store and download what? Python 3. Once you go to Google Play Store, just search for Python 3. If you search for it, all the code that I'm going to execute, you should be able to execute that. That is for those that does not have laptop that want to attend the training with their mobile phone. So if you enroll for the main class, what we are going to do is I'm going to take time to explain how to navigate around because it actually requires some logic for you to be able to know, okay, how do you run your code? Mobile phone is a very small device. But it's something you can actually find out on your own. So now that we understand what is Colab, which is the IDE that we are going to use tonight to practice these topics that I've highlighted here. So I'm going to be focusing on what is common in programming. I'm going to expose us to how to use Python print command. All these falls under Python basic syntax. Anybody that wants to learn Python or anybody learning Python for the very first time must advance, must grow from this basic syntax. And that is why I have picked them to deal with them tonight. We are going to look at input command. We are going to look at variables and then data type and operators. So at this point, I want to hold on and give room for 5 minutes for questions in case we have any question. Once we are back from the question and answer section, then we cannot dive in properly. So Mr. Michael, over to you. Do I have Mr. Michael here? Okay, so if Mr. Michael is not in, please, do we have question, please? Ask question if you have any question, and if all the explanations are also clear, fine, just comment. You can use the message handle to reply if you cannot speak. Please, you can use the message section. I want to get your response on what we have covered so far, good or bad, please. I want to, yeah. Only I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Oh, okay. Yes. Good
Yes, no.
evening. Am I audible? Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. I can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, it's my speaker seems to be very low here.
Yes, I think I can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, yes, it's fun. Okay. Thank you for hosting this event.
Thank
So my question is this. It's around Python usage across let me say all roles or all careers.
Yeah.
I want to know uh for somebody that wants to automate tasks, maybe the person is working as a data analyst or somebody in the cloud field, right? Or any other role that requires
Python.
Python. I want to know, is it the same Python knowledge they all need, or it varies according to roles? Thank you very much.
All right. That's a fantastic question. Thank you for that question. Now, this is how it works. Python actually has what we call library or modules or packages. That is one of the things that makes it very fast. Now, each and every one of us must have the general knowledge of Python. Then the application of Python will now vary depending on the area. For example, a data analyst will use Python after grabbing the basic knowledge of Python. Then he will now focus on the packages created for that particular purpose. For example, he's going to use NumPy, he's going to use Pandas, but somebody who is developing or using Python for automation may not need those libraries. So every aspect that you want to use Python on has its own library, has its own packages or modules that are written with Python. Now that is why I said that the word module or the word packages is just a collection of functions. So Python has put this function in set by set, put some in a container called pandas for data analysts or data scientists, put some in a container called different, depending on the area you are in. So you have a package for that. So in summary of your question, every one of us must have the same basic knowledge of Python. But in terms of the application, we all consult different library written with Python, sir. I hope I've answered your question, sir.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. Any other question, please? Let's make the class interactive. I'm giving you for questions now. Any other question? Progress, you are disturbing so much. Please, Progress, learn to be muting when you don't want to speak
Hello,
to us.
sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm with you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
I can.
sorry, there's a question here on the chat from Mr. Ugochukwu. He's
Okay,
asking what platform can I use to write Python code on my
my
laptop, please?
laptop. Yes. Maybe
Yeah.
Mr. Ugochukwu is just joining. I think I've mentioned that you can use PyCharm, and then you can use PyCharm, you can use Visual Studio Code. There are other platforms you can use out there, and you can use the Colab that I'm going to use tonight. I believe I've answered Mr. Ugochukwu. Okay, so at this point we have to. This is 1 hour gone already. That is exactly what I plan to cover. 1 hour for the background and then 1 hour for the practical. So now let's quickly dive in. We are going to start with comments. But before that, let's learn how to set up our IDE. So I have to exit. Let's look at how to set up our IDE. Because like I've said before, you cannot program without, having a platform that helps you to write your program. So let me switch back to IDE. It's just a second. All right. So, like I have defined there, that we are using Colab, and Colab is uh, a cloud base, which means that you are not installing the IDE on your local machine. You are working from a cloud, environment which is embedded in browser. In other words, which you can easily access through a browser. So how do we access it? It's just for you to install any of the browser. Either you are working with Google Chrome or you are working with what? Microsoft Edge or any of the browser. For especially most time you use what? Google Chrome. So I open my Google Chrome. Now all I need is for me to sign in with my what? Google Gmail. That is all you need for you to access what? Google Colab. And of course, your browser will have been registered or signed in with your Gmail. Like as you can see here now, P Prosper, it means I have already signed in with a Gmail. So now I can go ahead and type what? Google Colab. Google Colab. So once you type the Google Colab, then you get it here. All right. So now you will get this link. Welcome to Colab. So you click on it. Click on it. Let's wait for it to open. Right. So this is the Google Colab environment. So like I told you before, that the reason why I have not prompted an interface to enter my Gmail, because I have already signed into the browser with my Gmail. All right. So from here, we are going to create a notebook. We are going to create a notebook. So that notebook is going to serve as our what? IDE, which is the development, which is the integrated development environment. So I will click on what? New notebook. So if you have browser on your phone, you can code alongside with me. So so long you have a browser, you can code with this. All right. So now, if you were to be a company, maybe you are working, in a team. Now they will have registered, they will have signed in. They will allow you to log in to the portal and write your code. And whatever code you are writing, someone else can as well what? Access it. That is if you are given a what? An account. Now, the first thing to do here is to save your file in the cloud. You can see this is the cloud what? Icon. So you click here. The extension is .ipynb. That is notebook, Python what? Notebook. Now you delete whatever you have before the period or the dot, which is the extension of the file you want to create. So I can type, okay, Prosper is the name of this file, so that when next I come back, I can resume from this particular file. That is the essence of naming it. Now, let's start with those basic syntax that I mentioned. I want to start with comments. Remember, I mentioned them in the slide, and I don't want to be going there to avoid distraction. Now, what is comment in programming? Comment in programming, they are just narrations. They are statements that are not executable within the language. All programming languages uses comment concepts. So a way of telling a programming language that this aspect of my code, please do not execute it. It's not of your business. I am the one using it to explain the code to myself or to the third party. Now, the reason why a programmer must use commenting concepts is that, remember that we work as team. In other words, I'll be given certain aspects of the app to develop based on probably I'm good at that aspect. And then once I'm done with my own aspect of coding, then the code will be forwarded to the next person.
Now, when the code gets to the next person, that person does not need to be calling me to explain my code because I will have done that with the use of what? Comment. So that is the role of comment. In summary, comments are non-executable words, code or statements within your code, which are only used to explain your code. All right. Now, how do we write comments in Python? How do we denote comments in Python? Now, to write comments in Python, you press down the shift button on your keyboard and press letter 3. And then you are going to see this word hash. Now, anything you write in front of this hash is a comment. And what you are communicating, remember this is programming. Whatever you write after the hash, you have just sent a message to Python that hey, the whole of this should not be executed. Once Python says that hash, that is what we are saying. Any code you write, you must denote, you must tell us the expression. Because it's just like I'm speaking Isoko. If I say Nyanse, I must be able to interpret what do I mean by that. So every piece of code you write, you must identify the expression. You just give me 1 minute. All right. So like I was saying, any code you write, you must find the expression. You must understand the communication. So for example, right now, what we are learning is what? Comment in Python programming. Comment in Python programming. Now, remember I told us that any platform you are using to write your code, any IDE you are choosing must perform 3 things. 1, it must give you an interface to write code. And the question is, the code app, does it provide us interface to write code? Yes, because I've written a code. Then the second thing is that that platform must be able to convert, that is the interpreter, right? So it is that interpreter that will interpret this code to be comment to Python. Otherwise, Python will think of executing it. And then the last thing I mentioned there is that what? That platform must help you to debug. Debugging means you write a code and the code throws out error, and then the platform should be able to suggest where the error could, in fact, the platform should be able to tell you this is where the error is. So now let's execute. How do you execute your code in the Colab? You click on this icon here. Once you click, you will see that once this particular line is executed, you will see this square bracket will carry what? A number. Or it will change the appearance. Now it's running. Now I want you to understand something. You can see this place that is showing connecting. So which means that it's trying to connect to the server. Once it's connected, you see a kind of memory display there, and it's going to check it with a kind of good. Just hold on, stay executing the code. It's because it's the first time we are executing. Subsequent one will not take time because the first one is trying to connect fine. So you can see that connected. And then if you click here, you will see the server. That is what you connected to hosted runtime. And like I told you, you can see that the code, this line of code is fully executed, but nothing was outputted or nothing is outputted. Why? Because it's a comment. It's a comment. Because that's what I told you. Comment is a way of telling the language that do not what? Do not mind this section of my code. So I believe that is understood. Now, the next basic component or the next basic feature of Python syntax we highlighted we want to cover is print. So let's look at the next basic Python syntax. So I'm going to be using comment to explain each of them. So Python printing command. So what is Python printing command? So Python printing command is a way of telling Python to display something on the screen. So for example, now if I want to tell Python to display 10 plus 20, the answer should be what? 30. So how do I communicate this? So I'm going to tell Python print it. I'm going to use print. So print is a keyword. It's already programmed in the language word memory. So Python print 10 plus 20. So if I run it now, we are going to get an app that says what? 30. So you see it. So that's why I say print command is a way of telling Python display something on the screen. So I can tell Python to print my name. I can say, okay, print. Now, because my name is a string, because my name is a string, because my name is a string, I'm going to put it in quotes. So let's say what? Print Prosper allow. And then if I run it, you can see that what I have also printed the word Prosper. So with this, I believe you understand the concept of what Python what print command. All these are basic syntax you must understand as Python programmer. So another syntax that we highlighted in the slide was variable, input. But I will take variable before I take input for proper understanding. So what is variable in programming? Variable is a container that holds value within the program memory. So we start things. Variable is like a box where you keep things in the program depending on when you will need those things. So which means that you are using variable to store valuable information that will be needed to build an app or to program. For example, I want to build a calculator. That calculator will need numbers to perform calculation. I want to build any app. I should know that that app needs what information, needs those information which are what we call data types. So if, for example, the information you need to build an app is not an inbuilt information, the question is, how do you now acknowledge it in the language? That is where you introduce value. For example, I want to develop an app that displays my biodata. For example, I want to develop an app that displays my biodata. And what are my biodata? My name, Prosper, the state I am from, the country I am from, my educational qualification, and other information. Now, the question is that app needs those information, but are those information already built in Python? The answer is no. So the next question is that, okay, how do you now get Python to acknowledge, to store those information? We did a step such that when I continue writing my program, anytime I need my name, I call it from somewhere. Anytime I need my state, I call it from somewhere. That is where variable comes in. So that is why I said variables are container programmer creates in order to hold value that will be used in the course of programming. So Now, I will just give us an example of two variables because I'm still going to expand the concept of variable under what data type. Now, let's assume that the task we are given, I want to add another code. Now, clicking here means I want to add another cell. I don't want to write this code inside the previous word cell. So you click here. Now, what task do you want to perform now? Create, like I said, we are looking at what? Variable. We are looking at what? Variable. In programming, I'm not just attributing it to only Python because all the programming languages, you will definitely what? Use variable to hold value. So, like I said, variables are used to store value in a program. So, example of variable. Let's look at example of variable. So, for example, create a container. Create a container which is what? The same thing as what? Variable to store my country. To store my country. Because the country is not in the program. So when you are creating variable, let's talk about variable syntax so that you understand this very well. Variable syntax. Variable syntax. Now remember, I have said before that syntax are a set of rules that determine how codes are written. Now, when we say variable syntax, it means we want to look at the format, what is involved when you are creating a variable. Number one, a variable must have name. And the name, the conventional ways of naming variable is that you must not use a keyword. For example, I cannot say the name of my variable is print because print is already a keyword. It's already used by another function. And you must not start naming your variable with number. You can start with underscore. So there are principles that we must adhere to when naming our variable. So variable has naming section. Then after that, the second part of your variable is what we call the assignment. Assignment operator. Assignment operator, which is denoted with what? Single word equal sign. Then the last part of variable is value section. That is what you are storing inside. So looking at this syntax, let's particularize it. Let's particularize the syntax. So to answer that question that says we should create a container or variable that stores my country. So I will say country, for example, country is the name of my variable. The equals to is the assignment. The value you are holding, you are storing in the variable, you need to understand its type because it is the understanding of the type of value you are storing in the variable that will determine the principle of storing it. For example, my country, Nigeria, is a text. And that is why it implies that I must wrap it in what? Quotation or quote. Either single quote or what? Double quote is permitted. So in case you see programmer quoting section of their code, it means they are telling the language that this is a string, which means what? Character-based data type or text. So I say, okay, my country is Nigeria. Now, this is one variable. Now, I want to create another variable that mentions my age. So I will say age. Now, my age is what? My age is number. My age is number. So which means that I have just acknowledged the type of value I want to store in the variable to be a number, but the number is an integer. Numbers in programming are numerical value, which can either be integer, which means whole numbers, or floats, which means what? Numbers with decimal what? Units. So in programming, we work with two types of numbers: integer, whole number; float, number with decimal. They both have the same principle of storing them in variables. They do not require quotation, or except you want to convert it. So now I want to print. This is just like an app. So which means that what the app is to print my biodata. And what are the biodata? My age, my country. Let me add one more, just to expand the concept of variable. Let's say I want to add my name, my first name. Now, here I'm going to introduce what we call what? Programming a case. Now, I will use underscore, and the first letter, the second word starts with capital letter. This is called camel case in programming. Now we have snake case. Snake case is where all the letters are small letters. Then we have Pascal case. Pascal case is where the beginning of each word is what? Capital letter. But in this case, I'm using camel case. Why? Because the first word, the whole of the first word, they are in lower case, which means what? Small letter. It is only the next word that starts with capital letter. So for example, if I want to use three names, let's say what? Our first name, and maybe I want to add the third word. Now, outside the first word, every other word should start with capital letter. That is when we say what? Camel case. Right? So now we understand those three keywords, cases. The snake case, where you have all the words in a small letter, and then the camel case, where at the beginning of the beginning of the word, outside the first word, the capital letter, while the rest small letter. And then we have the Pascal case, where if you are using two words like I'm using right now, the F will have been capital letter, just like the way we started the name with what? Capital letter. So let's get this clear. Now it's still a string, my name. So I need to put it to what? Okay, let me use single quote. So my name is Ejero Prosper. So now I want to print all this information. And I want to print them in one line. I want to print this information in one line, and I'm going to show us how you can also print them in different lines, which means that the first type of printing is what we call inline, while the second type of printing is what we call block. Now, inline means what? All these values, Nigeria, my age, and Ejero Prosper, should be displayed in one line. One block means what? Nigeria should be just like the way they are. Each of them should take what? New line. I hope we are communicating. Let me hear from one person at least. Let me get a response from one person at least, if you are following.
It's clear, sir. We are following.
All right.
Yes, sir, we can follow you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Now let's kindly mute back, please, to avoid the disruption. Okay. So now, let me use comment to explain that the partners that will print all the above details in one line. Please go a sharing. I didn't ask you to share. Somebody is trying to share, please. Just please, I hope you can see my screen now. Someone needs to reply. Can you see my screen now? I want to be sure that you have my screen before I proceed. Just one person. Can you see my screen? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So print all the above. Yeah. You have to print all the above information in one line. Now, here we want to introduce what we call what? Python what? F or string printing. We call it what? Let me put it here. F string. Now, how do we communicate that? You say print, open the bracket, remember, because we want to display information on the screen. That is why we are consulting what? Our print command. Now, because we are using Python F printing, now we type F first. The reason is that as we are going to output those information, there are certain comments, there are certain statements that I'm going to be making that are not captured in any variable. So I want them to display alongside with the values and the variable. And this is why I'm using this Python word string printing. So I will now open what? My string. Then I will start by saying what? The name of my country, the name of my country, the name of my country. Now remember, we have stored country in a variable, which means that what? Country has become what? Keyword. So we can invoke it from the variable. I don't have to type it manually. So how do I invoke it from the variable? How do I mention variable in the string? So tell Python that this is not, I'm not creating this information, this value for the first time. I have created it before and I have stored it in what? In a variable. So you use this calling bracket. So this is how you reference, this is how you tell Python that what I'm about to mention as the capture is a keyword. So it's not as if I'm just creating it. So I will just type what? Country. Now to avoid conflict. Now remember what? Country is country, which means that when it gets to the name of my country is, it will replace it with what? It will display what? Nigeria, the value in the variable name you call. Now remember, we have displayed everything in one line. So I will now continue the statement inside the string. Whenever I use the word string, I'm talking about the quotation. Now, the name of my country is Nigeria, and I am 90 years old. So I will continue the string. And I want to call my age. I am, use the calling bracket also, then call the variable holding what? Age. And I am what? 90 years old. So I think I will put what? The years old here. Then I want to capture, and my name is Egwelu Prosper. And my name is Egwelu Prosper. And my name is, I reference the variable that is holding that information as well, which is what? First underscore name. Now, if I execute this code, let's execute it now and see the output. Look at the output. The name of my country is Nigeria, and I am 90 years old, and my name is Egwelu Prosper. So you can see how I've used this concept to explain so many things to us. One, I have used this concept to explain our basic data types, string and number, and the principles of holding them in a variable. And I've also used this concept to explain what we call Python word F printing or string printing. Now, that is the first task. Now, the next task is we have to display them in block. That means we have to display the country in a separate line, display the age in a separate line, display what? The name in a separate line. But I want to hold on and ask if there's any question first before we look at that. we are gradually rounding up.
Yeah. Hello.
Hope we are following.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Hello.
And
Yes,
we
sir.
see. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I've been following your analysis. But I just want to understand from that print, when you use the print the first time, you didn't use F, and this one you included F. Is it that the F is for anytime you are inputting only strings? In a case where you might need to combine maybe objects, can you use this F in the print? Thank you.
You want to combine objects like what? Can you give us an example of the objects you want to combine?
Numbers, text, and the other
Okay, now if you look at this
yes.
now, okay, I think I get your question. Now, the reason why I introduced this F, because this particular information that I'm bringing in between, they are not stored anywhere in the program. Are you with me? Oni, please, I want you to remain unmuted so that you can answer me for now.
Oh,
Are you with me?
okay, yes.
So you can
Yes.
see that all this information, this and this and this that I'm bringing in between, they are not stored in any variable. And the only way the
Okay.
language you understand it is for that to be in what? The quotation. So it doesn't throw error.
Okay.
Now, I didn't, I just want to display their value. I just felt that me just display, let's say I have created what GUI, that is what graphical user interface, where I want people like open now, where user can see what is coming from the back end. It's going to be confusing. Somebody will just see, on an app, we just see Nigeria, 90, and where we prosper, without understanding what are all these information. So what I'm trying to do here is that, okay, I want the person to know, the name of my country. Now I know why I'm seeing Nigeria. Did you understand it now? I just wanted
Yes.
to give that impression. Okay, so let's look at the last practical, because time will not really permit us. After this practical, I'll give us some important information regarding to, if Michael is here, I may hand over the platform to him. If he's not here, I'll give us the necessary information. Remember that this is just one time training. What we advertise is just 1 day Python pre-training. So I would advise every one of us that have joined here to subscribe into the master session. I think we have decided to give a very good discount. In fact, everybody can afford it. It's something you can afford. And we want to break it down in 3 phases because we understand that sometimes if it's too long, if we don't take it bit by bit, some persons may not, stay true. So we're going to break it down in a way that is going to be easy for you. So we're going to cost it for basic first. And that basic will take few classes. And then once we are done with the basic, and then for those that have the tenacity, those that have the strength, after learning the basic, then we can now go for what? Intermediate. And then after the intermediate, those that want to go advanced down to building real life applications, then can now progress to that last phase. So make sure that you stay tuned, don't log out, because after this last practical I want to do, I will reel out those information and even the cost. For those that have joined, we are going to give you a very good discount for those that are here. But those that will join later will not pay the same amount because we understand that you actually encourage us for showing up. So let's look at the last thing I want to show us in terms of practical. So what I've explained so far, I believe everybody understands what is comment in programming, particularly in Python. And then you understand variable concepts, and then you know how to manipulate what variable value by printing them out. Now remember the second task was that we have to print this information that we have put on one line. We have to break them into separate lines. That is what we call what? Block printing. Block. So let me put it in comment. Print same details in block. Print same detail in block. Now, what I'm going to do is this. Let me copy this line of code. Let me copy this. Control C. Go down. Paste. Now, this will now introduce what we call Python new line printing. Python new line printing. And it is denoted. Let me check. I think I have some messages here. Okay, I think it was response to. Okay. Now, Python new line printing. That is the concept I'm going to introduce. Now, from here, the name of my country, you see, I want this Nigeria to go down, not together with the East. So I will just bring forward or backward slash and end. That has a meaning in Python. What you are saying is that what anything from here should go down. Then I want this to go down after mentioning Nigeria, and I want it to go down also here. Remember how we are typing it, and then end. And then I am 90 years old, and my name. Okay, now I want to break it from here. 90 years old. I break it also from here. So what I'm just introducing is just that word, Python new line printing. So let me run the code and see what we get. So you can see what happens. So just adding that backward slash and press Python that break. What it is that word break, just like the way when we are typing in Word, we press enter and then the cursor will go to the next line. So any question so far? Any question? Any question, please? I want to use the remaining time to give us important information. Michael, are you still here? While I'm waiting for questions, are we still good? Do I have Mercy also here? Mercy, if you are here, please. I don't think Michael can hear me.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so do you have any details to give them, any information?
No, just based on the chat, somebody is asking if we can share the video after the class. Then another person is asking how can he install Python easily in his system.
Okay. Let me check messages. Okay. Yeah, the video will be available in the group. I believe if you are not in the group, maybe you drop the. I don't know if everybody joined from that group. Let's confirm if that person asking that question is in the group. If you are in the group, the video will be there latest before the end of tomorrow, or even for tomorrow morning, the video might be available. Then for the person that asked how you can install Python, I would advise you to join the complete basic class, because under the complete basic class, the lecture is not going to be as fast as this. Because why this one is this fast? Because it's like a demo, and we really want you guys to go home with some tangible skills. And that is why I decided to go with this speed. But if it is the master class, you are going to be sharing your screen. If you have issues that require debugging, we are going to be attending to them one after the other. And then you have an opportunity to ask questions as you want. And then we will start with installing the PyCharm. We are not going to write our code with Colab. We are not going to use Colab. We are going to use PyCharm. We are going to use PyCharm. So I will encourage that person to register. So the entire Python basic, we are giving it out for 10,000. We are giving it out for 10,000. You will learn to function. You will learn to function. You will learn from basic to functions, and then you'll be able to build not less than 3 to 4 apps, tangible apps that can solve problems for someone, even as we call it basic. Right? So we are giving it out for 10,000. So I would like to hear from anybody, and if we have anybody who feels that he or she wants to register right away, we will still reduce the price. Anybody who wants to register right now, we will still bring it down. So if I have such a person, kindly indicate either you talk, you speak to me, or you speak through the message. Yes, I've already answered that. Okay.
Yes, sir. To register right now. So, sir, the paid Python class will be for how many months or weeks, sir? And
Yes,
during the time of.
Okay. Actually, we are going to plan the time after the registration, but minimum of twice in a week. Minimum of twice in a week. And then sometime, okay, let me just give an estimate because we are going to work with the speed of the learner, right? Particularly at the beginning. Ordinarily, if we have persons who have done maybe who have basic Python knowledge before now, the basic Python knowledge, if we are meeting an average of twice in a week, within 5, 6 classes, we should be done with the basic. We should be done with the basic. Then, if we are meeting once in a week, because that is why I said after the registration, we will consult, we will do a poll in the group and suggest those that want it twice and those that want it once in a week, because I believe that some of us are working class and they will not want them to be cut off. So we'll do that election and see how we can go with it. But the platform we have scheduled twice in a week, except if the student says that it's twice in a week is too much, then we can make it once, provided it's productive. I don't know if I've answered your question, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so who are people that want to register right away so that we can still reduce this from the 10,000, give you a discount? If you want to take advantage of that window, you can take advantage of it, or you will register later. So long you join this session, we'll give it to you for 10,000 for the basic. When we are done with the basic, okay, somebody say want to register right away. That is Freedom. Is it Freedom? I'm seeing here. Oh, Freedomite. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Freedomite, if you are registering right away, we'll give it to you at the rate of 8,000. Right away, 8,000. Then we send you the company account details to pay in. Any other person? Any other person, please? We will announce the starting date. Probably is going to be once we depends on the registration. We can start this next week. If we have 2 or 3 persons, we'll start the training. Mercy, please kindly get the contact of the person that have indicated interest to register right away. I'm going to send you the account details to forward to the person. I think I have another person who wants to register right away too. Mercy, are you here? Please, so I can get their details.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, please take note of their. Let us drop their. Please drop your number also in the message section. Those of us that have indicated want to register right away, drop your number. I'm forwarding you the account, the company account details so that you can pay into. We still have more persons that want to register right away. You are registering now, you are paying 8,000. And at the end of the training,
we give you certificates. Certificate will be included. We are giving a certificate to those. Yes, those that want to pay tomorrow. Okay. Okay. How many people want to pay tomorrow? I'm coming. Next, please take note of the message while I sort out the account detail, please.
Okay, sir.
Let them also provide their phone number so that you can identify them. Just give me a few minutes. See, this platform is registered. You don't need to worry. It's registered with federal government. Where is this? Please just hold on. I'm coming. All right, Mercy, I'm forwarding you the account detail now. Let me to put it in the message section so that those are paying. Please, once you pay, share the receipt in the group that you join from to allow us to document your information. Those that are paid, Mercy, you move them to the pay group. Make sure you add them to the pay group. So Mercy, please drop the account detail. I just sent it now. I hope you have confirmed it. You put it in the message section for them. Put it in the message section. All right. So once you make payment, you also drop your receipt in the group. All right. Thank you so much. Congratulations to those that have registered. These are people who recognize opportunity. This is what some places pays 100,000 to learn. That is what they are going to get for just that amount. Sometimes when you join session like this, you take advantage of this kind of a window. We will also mentor you. We don't just train. After the training, you can still be reaching out to us if you have questions. So I believe you have dropped the. Have you dropped the account detail message?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I've done that.
Okay. So those that want to pay 8,000, please, and share your receipts. All right. We are waiting before we close the line. Okay. Okay. Somebody is saying that somebody is appealing for us to extend the discount to tomorrow. Okay, yeah, let's extend it to tomorrow. Please also notify the rest in the group message. Let's extend it to tomorrow. To those that have the ask can pay now, and then you can as well pay tomorrow. So if you are paying today at tomorrow 8,000, then after tomorrow you pay Okay, somebody is asking that is paid tomorrow. Yes, you can reach out to Mercy. Please drop your number. Drop your number. Mercy, drop your. I think I just
Okay.
received someone's payment 8,000. That
Okay,
should
sir.
be that should be. I can't get this person's name. Please share your receipt in the group so that Mercy take note. If we are extending it to tomorrow, and make sure that you inform them in the group. Inform them in the group that there's a discount for those that want to take advantage. This is an opportunity, and I want to congratulate them. Please let's identify the person that, because I can't get the name from the credit alert here. I can't get the name. Please, if you are the one that just paid 8,000, please share your receipt or just drop your name. Just share your receipt. Share your receipt in that group where you join from. Don't worry, just share your receipt there. We'll take note of it. Congratulations. Oh, okay. Can we all link up in the group WhatsApp chat to share knowledge and proceed? Yes, there is already a group. There will be another group, actually. There will be another group. There will be another group. So those that have paid, they will be moved to another group where we can always continue the conversation. So what is the cost of the full class? Who is asking? Is the person just asking now? Can I also pay tomorrow? Okay, previous pay tomorrow. Thank you. I want to register right away too. That is Davis. Uh, Davis, were you the one that paid before? Please, I'm here to get the receipt of the person that
Okay.
paid.
Hello. I think it's Mr. Freedom that paid.
Okay, freedom. Okay, another person said he wants to pay right away. That is Davis. Please, if you can, we are waiting for you. Davis, are you here? Let's confirm if Davis is still here. Okay, so okay, I think somebody dropped this a receipt. Okay,
Yeah, that's for Mr. Freedom.
okay. If somebody say yes, I am trying to transfer the money now. Okay. Okay, that is please take note of them. I'm waiting. Let's get their details very well before. Please,
Okay.
please, you can create that group right away. I share the link. Let's share the link with the people that have paid, or if there's a way they can chat you up. Drop your number, or I don't know if you have dropped your number. Have you dropped your number?
Yes, I've done that. Yes.
Okay, okay. Let them chat you also. That create the group right away. Let them chat you up. You add them, please, and also add every one of us there. Okay, I think so. We are waiting for Oluwase Davis to pay before we end the class. If we have any other person who wants to pay, all right. Which I think she's the only person, or he's the only person we are waiting for now, so that we can close the line. And then in the group, please notify others message that they can also take advantage of this window. Okay, so Mercy, let me know once you want me to close the line. Just let me know. I'm still here waiting.
Okay, sir.